everyone, it's Sherry from the blog OurLifeHomeschooling.com, where I share homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. I'm going to be talking today about how to keep a house clean when homeschooling a large family. In a large family, everything is more. There's more food to make, more cleanup, more stuff. If there's no system or plan in place for keeping order, it's sure to be chaos. If you add homeschooling into this, it adds just one more element to the mix. So, is it possible to keep your house clean when homeschooling a large family? I say yes, it is. It takes a plan and lots of hard work to keep your home in order when you're homeschooling a large family. But here's what I have learned in the 13 years that we've been homeschooling. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sherry. I am married to my high school sweetheart, Nelson. We've been married for 22 years. I'm a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom. We have 10 children. I love encouraging other moms through my YouTube channel and on the blog, OurLifeHomeschooling.com. Now, when I told my husband that I'm going to be doing a video on how to keep your house clean when homeschooling a large family, he gave me a sarcastic, knowing look and said, I would like to see that video. How do you keep a house clean when homeschooling a large family? So I want to start off by clarifying what I mean by a clean house. When I say clean, I am not thinking of the type of clean that we had in our house before we had kids, or even the type of clean we had when we had only 1 or 2 kids. When you have a large family, it's just a different dynamic. There is more of everything. The wear and tear multiplies because you have so many more people using appliances, so many more people's things to keep up with. If you want to have a pristine house and have a large family, I think it's definitely possible. But in my opinion, you would have to run it more like a factory or an organization. And personally, that is not how I want our family to feel. I want it to feel like a haven, not a showcase. We like to let our hair down every now and then and just relax and let things go, have a fun movie night or have a big birthday party celebration for our kids. And during these times, our house is not clean. When I say keeping a house clean for a large family, this is what I have in mind. Having a plan in place, a system, having chores. Having one time during the day when everything is company ready. Waking up to a kitchen that is fairly clean on most mornings. Having everyone's beds made. Being able to get the house in order for company within just a 15-minute notice. So I'm not looking for perfection or the type of clean that we had before we had kids, but something that is functional and works for our family. When you have more kids in the home, I think it is helpful to prioritize home above school. When my children were all little, I really did set the housework aside temporarily. Our house was still pretty clean. I did the dishes, the kitchen was clean. We had, the house was picked up, but I did temporarily set aside our housework a little bit so that I could focus on just the foundations of their learning. They knew nothing in the beginning. And there were no older kids ahead of them that they could just look to them and see what they were learning and pick up from some of that. They were at the very beginning. I had to teach them how to write, how to read, just the basics of math, the basics of doing a chore, of making their beds. Everything was brand new to them. And those early years are foundational years. I did let our housework take a little bit of a back burner when the kids were little. I felt that if I was to get the house the way I wanted it before school, we would never get to our schoolwork. So in those years, I focused on their schoolwork first and getting them started on some of those foundational things. As our family grew, however, and we were turning into a larger family, I started realizing that this was not sustainable long term. There were more people, more things to keep up with, more laundry, more meals, everything was more. This changed for us. We had to start making home a priority above school. So as our family became a large family, we started prioritizing chores and getting the house clean first thing before our schoolwork. I did worry a little bit about how this is going to affect the kids. I didn't want them to get behind academically. What I found though was that, first of all, housework and all the things that we do to maintain our home, these things are life skills. This is life learning that a lot of adults enter the workforce and don't know how to do. So your housework is learning. Secondly, I also realized that if you create an atmosphere in your home where your kids love to learn, they're always going to be moving forward. Even if you set aside their schoolwork for a little bit to prioritize your house, they're going to keep moving ahead because in their spare moments, they're going to be curious and they're going to want to be reading or learning or doing something productive. So I wouldn't worry about prioritizing your housework before school, just so that you can have the order that you need to start your day. This principle also applies when you go through seasons where you can't keep up. When you're pregnant, or if you're sick for a season, if you have an infant, just some of those times we go through if you're moving, where life is just so much and it's really hard to keep up with your house and your schoolwork. I would take this same approach. I would prioritize your home above school. Make the housework a priority. And you will get to a point again where everything's in order and you can spend more time on your schoolwork. It's really important to get kids involved in the work that needs to be done in your home. And we do this through daily chores. The very first chore that our kids learn to do is to make their bed. When our kids are little, we teach them 3 things as soon as they are about 3 years old. When you get up, you get dressed, make your bed, and brush your teeth. Learning to make their bed first thing in the morning is the one thing that gets their room looking in order. If your bed's made, everything just looks cleaner. One chore system that has been really effective in our home is dividing it up into zones and giving each child a zone. So every morning after our breakfast, we do chores, and I have everyone assigned to a different zone in our home. When I started this, I just broke our home up into individual spaces that needed to be cleaned. So for example, the living room, the schoolroom, the kitchen, the entryway and powder room, the upstairs bathroom, downstairs bathroom. For each of these zones, I got out an index card and wrote on each card what needed to be done in each room. So each card was a different zone. And I wrote down everything that I wanted done in that room when someone was working in there. And I had some things that were daily and some things that were weekly. In the beginning, I gave each child a zone and they did that same area every single day until they could get good at it. Over time, we slowly rotated, and the kids have become familiar with what's expected in each of those zones. In the beginning, when I started this, when we moved to our new house, we just worked every day at getting really good at those zones. Our schoolwork started a little bit later during that time, and we just worked on checking each zone, making sure everything on the index card was done. And I really feel like it was worth it to do this temporarily, to make this a priority, because after a while they got really good at it and they perfected it. They knew I was checking. They knew that there was a certain standard that was expected, and so they were able to do it faster. Another thing that's really important in a large family is your kitchen. The kitchen in a large family house is like a rotating door. It seems like as soon as you get one meal made and cleaned up, it's already time for the next meal. So I think having a good plan for the kitchen really helps. A couple things that we have done to help with this. I have one child who is assigned to be the kitchen person for every day of the week. So if they're young, maybe under 10, they are more of a helper for me. So I will do the cleanup and they will be helping me until the kitchen is cleaned after every meal. When I'm doing meal prep, they can help me with some of the things I need. Help in setting the table, whatever it is that I need for that day. If they're older than 10, the idea is that they are cleaning up after every meal for that day, and I am their helper, but they're still responsible for it. So for every day of the week, there is a person who is assigned either as a helper or to be completely responsible for the kitchen cleanup. Another thing we have done in the kitchen is we have our kids all use the same cup throughout the day. So they each have a stainless steel cup with their name on it. Each of our kids has a cup that they use for their drink throughout the day. That way they're not getting out a lot of cups and using up a lot of dishes. We also use paper plates during busy seasons. This really cuts down on a lot of the cleanup for us, and to me, I think it's worth it. Another tool that has been really helpful for me is what we call the 15-minute pickup. I use this whenever we need it, and I usually use it in the afternoons after we finish school, right before my husband gets home from work. It's nice just to pull everything back in and get everything in order again. In our home, we set a timer for 15 minutes. I like to have the kids spread out. So I may assign, 2 kids to the kitchen, 2 kids to the living room, 2 kids to the schoolroom, or however I want to divide it up. And we just all work as quickly as we can, picking up anything that's in sight. So picking up things from the floor, things on the table or on a desk, just fixing the books on the bookshelf. And at the end of the 15 minutes, we stop. And usually at the beginning of this, the kids are, don't have a good attitude. Nobody really wants to do it. People are complaining. But by the end, everyone has a completely different attitude because now our home is clean again and they're inspired. It kind of just sets or pushes a reset button on our house and the kids play nicely again. So I love using a 15-minute pickup whenever we need it. This is what we use when we have company coming over. We just pull out a 15-minute pickup, set the timer, and it really helps. It's very helpful to have a plan for your laundry. In our home, we have kids that are 10 years old and older do their own laundry. They each have their own hamper in their room, and I don't keep track of it. I don't have a system for when they do it. They are responsible themselves to notice when their hamper is getting full or when they need to do their wash and to do it, to start it. Initially, this was a little bit more difficult because, you're wondering, are they going to be responsible? And sometimes, they had no clothes and we were going out somewhere and they realized, hey, I'm not keeping up with my laundry. And that was, usually the last time it happened, and they realized they had to be consistent with doing their laundry. So yes, there were times where we had to go somewhere and they didn't wear something very nice. Another thing that I have tried to do is to keep doing at least 1 to 2 loads of laundry a day. So as long as I can get 1 or 2 loads in, it seems like we don't get behind. I only use 1 laundry basket, which seems crazy for a family of our size. But I have found that if we only have 1 laundry basket, then I can't just set the finished clothes in baskets to pile up. As soon as they come out of the dryer, they pretty much have to be folded. And it has happened sometimes where I just can't fold it in that moment, and that would be when I just corral a couple people to come and help me. Hey guys, I have to get another load in the wash and this basket needs to be folded. So let's all come together and just fold it really quickly. For our kids that are under 10 that I still do their laundry, we have 1 hamper, and that is down beside our washing machine because for me, this transfers the work from me to them. It's something they can do. They can bring their laundry down to the hamper themselves instead of me, when I do the laundry, having to go up into their rooms and find all of their dirty laundry and bring it down. So 1 hamper next to our washing machine, and they all bring it down there. This is for kids that are under 10 whose laundry I'm still doing. We have not come up with the best solution for socks, but I will tell you what we do. One thing that worked really well in our home for a period of time was to have the kids pin their socks. I have a big just bowl of pins that I keep in a drawer, safety pins, and I would have them pin their socks in the evenings before they went to bed and put it in the hamper. This worked really well because it kept their socks together. But some kids just kind of got out of the habit, and it seems like when they started doing laundry on their own, it kind of faded away. But this worked really well for a while. And then whatever socks came out of the wash that were not matched, we would just put into a big sock bin. And we like to pay our preschoolers and some of our little kids to match socks for us. They love making money doing that, and we love having someone match the socks. This is also something that we do when we have odd jobs or deep cleaning jobs. We will often pay our kids to do some of this work. Of course, I do it as well. I try to keep up with it. I always have some closet or some drawer that I'm trying to organize, or something that I see needs some deep cleaning and some attention. But a lot of times I feel like I can't keep up with it. And when that happens, we will offer to our kids, hey, we'll pay you such and such. We'll pay anyone such and such who wants to take it. And kids love making money. So this has been really effective for us. Lastly is bedrooms. I think if you have them make their bed as the first chore of the day, this really helps in their bedrooms. When your bed is made, your whole room looks a lot cleaner. Even if other things are messy, at least it looks like someone took some care and some attention. We don't have our kids clean their rooms every day. Our system for having them clean their rooms is that they have to have a clean room before screen time. So this does not include the screen time that they have during the day for any of their schoolwork, but this is pretty much the screen time that we give them Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays to do some of the video games that they like to do. So before screen time, on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, they have to have a clean room, and it is checked by me or my husband. So this really helps them to just get their rooms back in order. We've been pretty particular. I have been, because just checking under their bed, looking in their closet. Sometimes I will have them fold their clothes in their drawer. It's really important for them to learn how to keep their area clean, their immediate living space clean. All of these things that I've talked about today are life skills. A lot of people enter adulthood and don't know how to do them. I've done another video on life skills. I will link that above for you if you'd like to take a look at it. This is how we keep our house clean when homeschooling a large family. I would love to hear from you, and I'd like to know what kinds of things you do in your home to keep your house clean. Keep the conversation going. What do you do when homeschooling your kids to keep your house clean? Thanks for listening in. Have a great day.